What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Today on the program, speaking of entertainment, I got Craig Jamieson coming back for more. Oh, yeah, you know him. He's in London, Ontario, in Canada. Oh, Canada. He's got a new song called Get to You. So, hey, you can look that up. You could pause this and look up Get to You right now. I'm not going to be mad, but you're going to get to know what's going on in the world of Craig Jamieson. I know you heard of him because you watched his video. You heard the podcast before. But we're going to learn a little bit more about Craig Jamieson and what's happening now with his new, Dance Depression Away. That's pretty cool. He's getting people that are depressed to dance their depression away, okay? All right, you're going to get to know a little bit more about that in the next few minutes, so stick around. This week's shows, I have two public shows. I have the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night, my usual Friday night gig, the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. Let's see. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. They got some good food. They got pool tables, 10 diamond-style pool tables. They have a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, you come check out the Rab. You do it. And even if you're not in the pool tournament, I know they always keep at least 2 tables available for people that just want to come in and play some pool and have some drinks, have some food, and sing. That's right. Karaoke. So the pool tables are on that side of the room. The karaoke is on this side of the room. I try to keep it quiet on that side of the room so people can play pool. But then it's really, it sounds like a concert when you get closer to the stage. And I like it. And the people like it. And I like being there. So that's from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the a.m. on Friday night. And then on Saturday, I'll be hanging with the veterans at the Choctaw VFW. Choctaw VFW Saturday night from 9 p.m. until 1 in the a.m. Now, they have pool tables as well. Full bar. They have some snacks. And, of course, they have the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam with yours truly. Always a good time. I'm at the Choctaw VFW about once a month, usually the last Saturday of the month, but for some reason it's the second to last Saturday on this month. So I'm kind of excited about that. So come check out the Rab on Friday night, 8 p.m., and then the Choctaw VFW in Choctaw, Arkansas on Saturday night at 9 p.m., and that goes until 1 in the a.m. So excited. Oh, speaking of excitement, let's get into it with Craig Jamieson. I got him on Zoom, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, check out my video. It's youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Zooming Craig Jamieson now.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Bam! Oh, my goodness, I got Craig Jamieson in my face again. What's happening, brah?
Everything, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, you know what, man? It's been just a short time since we talked the last time, but a lot has happened since then, at least musically and entertainmentally. But you explain it. What's going on in your neck of the woods, Craig Jamieson? And what is all this Get to You stuff?
Yeah. Get to You, new single. Just released on the 4th of July. I actually released 2 songs in the last little while. A new one called Come Around on July 11th as well. That just released on the weekend. That one is to support my campaign for Dance Away Depression, which is like a charity that I started to provide feel-good environments and this idea of using music and movement to help people de-stress and be around like-minded people who can support them. through life stresses and dealing with, mental health and stuff. And then we're doing our flagship event on August 16th, and yeah, we're kicking it off, and it's going to be a big party to help support mental depression, and any of the proceeds from the ticket sales, silent auctions, all the fun stuff we're doing are going to be going to not-for-profits that help people with their mental health. So super excited. Yeah. And then the new single "Get to You" is streaming everywhere as well, and lots going on.
Well, my man from London, Ontario, let's see. This depression. All right. I grew up in a time where I'm a man. We don't get depressed. You don't ask for help. You know what you need? A good swift kick in the pants. That's what you need. You don't need to talk your feelings over. Maybe with your priest. Okay. I grew up kind of Catholic. So there was a time when I had to confess all my sins to my priest, which was kind of weird anyway. But I mean, and there was one time when my parents were fed up with the way I was acting, and my brother was acting, because we were fighting all the time. But that's what brothers do. They fight, and they have problems, that kind of thing. But there was one time that we went to a psychiatrist or a therapist of some kind, and I remember playing puzzle games. That was my experience with a therapist, and we only went one time because I believe the expense was probably too much. But I realized there, and then and I actually went to college, and my first major was psychology. So I thought, well, maybe, but I quickly switched that over to communications. But tell me, how has therapy helped you, and how are you helping people dance away depression?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm a huge advocate for. I've been suffering with panic and anxiety since my early 20s. And the biggest challenge for me was, and you said it, right? Like, I'm a man, I'm not allowed to be depressed, I'm not allowed to talk about my feelings. And I think that's external, an external kind of vibe, but it's also an internal, right? We're sort of raised that way, and we have ego and all this type of stuff, right? So when I was going through this stuff, there was that conflict inside of me that, like, why is this happening to me? This shouldn't be happening. But then it was also, when I did talk to people about it, they were just like, they didn't get it, they didn't understand, they didn't appreciate, and they were just like, well, chill out, Craig, you're going to be fine. And that would annoy me, because it was like, well, I would if I could, but this is something that's bigger than me. And by the time I got the help for it and stuff like that, and started doing my own research and really figuring this thing out, it is bigger than me. And what people don't realize a lot of the time is this is like a chemical imbalance in your brain, right? This is something that it is essentially a disease. It's an affliction, and so like I felt alone a lot of the time, and it wasn't until I started talking with other people that are going through the same things that I really started to feel better about my situation, not feel like a weirdo. And I found solace in the fact that there were other people that were going through similar stuff. So I wanted to do something that was going to put people in a safe space with that type of stuff, right? Where they could talk to like-minded people, whether or not they're going through it themselves, or at least have a sensitivity to it, be it somebody in their life or something like that, or they're just kind of, like I said, have a sensitivity to it. So, and I'm a big advocate for therapy, because when you lean on your friends, your family, even though they love you, it's never impartial, right? They're going to have their own opinions, especially because they know you and they think they know you and all this type of stuff. But the nice thing about a therapist is that they're completely impartial. You can tell, and they have ethics, right? Like essentially a code of silence, right? Where they can't you can tell your skeletons, your deepest, darkest secrets, anything that, you may be embarrassed to tell somebody that knows you personally about or whatnot. You can just let it all out, and they can be that sounding board. And they're impartial. Of course, they're going to have their opinions, and they're going to give you their advice and feedback based on the way they see it or the way they've helped other patients in the past or whatever. But it's at least coming from a place of a true impasse, right? Where they haven't formulated a strong opinion of who you are as a person. They're looking at more of the situation and what you're going through, and helping you to understand that versus, I guess, casting judgment or whatever it might be. So I see a therapist on a regular basis. I used to see one on a scheduled basis, but as things kind of get better, and they are costly, right? So, but whenever I need my therapist, I just reach out, and it makes me feel better about certain situations, and it gives me more clarity and a better understanding of how to handle certain situations, and also the why, right? Because it's good. These are educated people, and they have a knack, obviously, for understanding why you may feel a certain way or why you're doing certain things that you maybe just don't even understand about yourself. So they help you get more clarity and more understanding of yourself. So, you asked me how therapy has been a big change in my life. I mean, it's been huge, and I don't think there should be any stigma around it. If people are like, I'm seeing a therapist, I applaud that. I applaud that, one, they can be self-aware enough to understand that they need help, and they can be, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they can get a step beside themselves and go and get the help, right? Like, essentially, right? They can be, I can't think of the word right now, but you know what I mean. So anyway, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, in all my years, I spent most of my time studying people and watching people. Whenever I do my gigs, my bar gigs, I don't drink alcohol. I like to keep my faculties about me, and I watch people as they walk in, and they're yeah, we're at the club, yeah, we're at the club, and then 4 or 5 hours later, depending on the type of person they are, occasionally you'll see one, I'm at the club. Oh my goodness. And that's how they work through their problems. People are complex. People are very complex. And one of the first things that I learned almost day one at Psychology 101 was that most psychologists need psychologists. So, it's a very special kind of person that could be a therapist, that could take somebody's problems and, not have them weigh down so much on themselves. So I do applaud someone who could, if you don't have a friend that you can count on, that you can confide in, that will not tell all your problems. Some people can find a friend or find a priest or a clergyman of sorts, somebody that they can trust. So that therapist does become a confidant, a person that you can talk to. And I don't think there should be any stigmatisms to have and the need to talk to someone. People need people. Yeah, I've been depressed. And when you mentioned anxiety, I remember when I was 16, I was working at KFC in the drive-thru. And I remember one day the drive-thru being it was car after car after car after car. I had to sit down. My heart was coming out of my chest. I couldn't, my breathing was having trouble. And, self-diagnosed, because I just went back, to where the cooler was, to where the chicken was being kept. And I sat down for a little bit, but self-diagnosed, yeah, I probably had a panic attack. And I think that was the first and, hopefully the last one. But, people have panic attacks, have chemical imbalances, have things that they have to go through. So I know a psychiatrist can prescribe medicine. So if you have that need to where you need to manage your chemicals, your brain, your functions through chemistry, that you see a psychiatrist, but a psychologist, a therapist of some kind. Now, a lot of people can hang a shingle out, even if they're not school qualified. Sometimes you get a massage therapist or something like that, and just somebody that you can talk to, somebody that sells crystals. I've heard people talk to them as well. Reading tarot cards, whatever's going to get you through. But I'm glad that you found a management tool, something that helps you cope with this life, because it's crazy out there. And I use the term crazy, which is probably not politically correct. It's insane. I don't know. It's ironic. Whatever synonym you want to use for how life is. It's chaotic at best. You're born into this world. You were in darkness, and then bam, you're in the light, and the doctor's probably spanking you on your bottom day one. And chaos.
100%. And I think, being a single dad but just being a parent in general, when you have people that are relying on you, right? And you've got to be that sounding board for all these people in your life. It's like, who do you turn to, right? Like, who do you, because you have all these stresses and pressures and all these types of things on you. And it's like, what are your outlets? How do you take care of your own mental health, and who can you talk to and who can you turn to? Because the world got up in a hurry pretty quick, right? And there's so much like stress and energy around us that is it sometimes it's hard to manage. So it's good to have that sounding board or that outlet, right? Music is amazing for that, right? Like when I think about why I got started in music, that was a big part of it. It was about getting my angst and my emotions and my anxieties and stuff out and turning them into a positive outlet. When I could sing about my feelings and write down my feelings and stuff like that, it made me feel better. And you talk about people who they have a favorite song, or whatever it is. Why is that? What does that song mean to them? What is that? And it could be a sad song, it could be a happy song, but music is so powerful that way that it helps us understand who we are as people as well, and it gives us meaning within those lyrics, and gives us. What I love is that, like, when you talk about other people going through the same things as you, these songwriters who put their hearts on their sleeve and they talk about these types of things in their music and stuff like that, it's just one more indicator that you're not alone, that there's somebody else out there that feels the same way, right? And I think that's extremely powerful.
Yeah, of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most. That's a phrase, a mantra that I've lived with my whole life. That it always struck me, and I said to myself, I never want to lose my mind. And I find as the years go by, I forget things more often. Is that me losing my mind, or is that just something that comes with age? But I want to keep my faculties about me, and I do read, and I do make sure that I keep up with things, and having these conversations where I get to bounce ideas off of people. It's almost purely selfish, because I do get new ideas and new intuitions from you, Craig Jamieson, and I was happy to talk to you before, and I'm happy to talk to you now. But I'm glad that you have music as your therapy. My cousin Timmy, probably one of my first instances to someone who was really experiencing mental health problems, and he's been on this podcast 2 or 3 times, and he's talked about it, and he does have chemistry. He has to work through it using chemicals. I don't remember the exact medicines or what have you, but even that is kind of a crapshoot at best. Is when if a therapist does determine that you could benefit from lithium or or any of these medicines that you hear about. When you take them, it's kind of you're measuring out, how does this make you feel? Come back to me in a week. Come back to me in a couple of days. How does this make you feel? I don't know if you've ever had to use chemicals to make your
I
your
take a pill
mind.
every once a day.
Okay.
To kind of it stops the panic attacks and the anxiety for me.
Did you find
And
that
it's
before?
super interesting. Like you,
Yeah.
you mentioned the club, and people are like, "Yeah, the club," and then you've got the other people that say, "Oh, the club." A lot of times, it's those people that are like, the club," that are actually suffering the most because what they're doing is they're overcompensating. What I found super interesting, and I was actually talking about this on another podcast, was the one place where I didn't feel panic and anxiety and felt like myself the most was on stage. And that seems very counterintuitive because you would think, okay, you're being outward, you're responsible for entertaining a room full of people. It's intense. But for me, it was that, I guess, like the adrenaline and the endorphins from that, and just the pure passion and love for what I was doing canceled out all of those other feelings, right? And I think of guys like Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell, Robin Williams these guys that kind of took their own lives. And outside looking in, you'd be like, okay, they're rich, they're successful, all this type of stuff. But you never know, right? I love that lyric by Amanda Marshall. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just don't know when you're outside looking in, right? And these prolific rock stars who most people emulate and be like, I'd love to be that guy, taking their own lives or whatever. It's just insane. And even my partner in all of this, he had, unfortunately, one of his friends took his own life last year. And he said he never knew. He never knew. They get together, they watch football. He had no idea that he was going through all these struggles. And if this guy would have just, sought out the help that he needed or whatever it might have been, it could have been a different story. So I implore anybody out there, if they're listening, to get the help that you need. It's about a quality of life, and there is resources, there is help out there. You don't have to struggle alone. So, this is getting pretty dark, but
No,
it's
I'm sad that your friend lost his friend as well. And I don't think anyone needs to take their own life. I mean, that's what is it, a short, wait, was it a permanent solution to a short problem or something like that? I can't remember the exact.
yeah.
Do you remember that phrase, like a quick solution to a short problem or something like that?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay. But and I encourage, hey, my loyal listener, if you are feeling depressed and you feel like that might be the way to go, call somebody. There's a hotline that you can call, that you can get some help, immediate help, and have just an ear to talk to. But that is a trope that you hear in a lot of movies and a lot of sitcoms is, oh, you were out with your buddies? Oh, you were out watching a football game? Oh, okay. Well, what's Jim doing these days? Oh, I don't know. We didn't talk. You don't check in with your friends. I think back in the 50s, guys used to have guy friends, used to go meet at the bar and, for a quick one before they went home. They had friends that they could check in with, that they could spend time with. I think I have one friend, and I talk to him on the phone maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, but one friend that I've had since high school. Guys don't check in with each other the way they used to, it seems. Well, what do you think? Do you have a friend, a confidant that you could talk to besides your therapist?
I do, but it's always their opinion based on biases and things like that, which is which is great. I mean, it's somebody to listen to and things like that, right? But and I have many friends, and we do guys' nights, and I'm going to be going out for dinner with my best friend this week and catching up and stuff like that. Um, I think that's important, to have a support system. You know, I'm reminded of Two and a Half Men. They did the one episode where they had Charlie had a bunch of people over, and it was like a man group, and they sat around drinking scotch and smoking cigars and talking about their issues with their marriages and whatever else was going on in their lives. And I think if it's important to have that kind of support group for sure.
Yeah, but usually that guy would come home and the wife would say, "Oh, so how's Jim doing? Oh, I think he's getting a divorce. Why? What happened? I don't know. We didn't talk about it."
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Men in general will keep things tight, And I give that credit to women that they're a lot more emotionally aware and more able to kind of lean on each other. I think more men need to be like that, right?
I guess
Because we have this like we need to be the big men, right? We need to have everything under control, and a lot of the times things are bigger than us, right? And we can't do it alone.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm an alpha. My wife says that I am a lot, that I take charge quite a bit, and I don't see it. As time has gone by, I've let things go. I've given control to other people. But you were talking about stage presence, stage performance, how you have no anxiety when you're up there. Do you block out the people? Because there's so many people out there watching you do your thing. Or do you get that energy from those people?
Oh, I feed off the people.
Yeah.
I feed off their energy. Yeah, it's all about the people. I'm an entertainer, so once I'm on that stage, it's all about the people. My goal is to make sure they have a good time.
Yeah, this weekend.
And I think that in itself can be a distraction too, because what I've found about panic and anxiety and managing it is you need to be outward, not inward. So what I mean by that, if something is giving you serious anxiety, most people will go into that fight or flight type of body thing that happens, right? And so they sort of they shrink back and they get scared, and the more that you feed into the fear, the more that you feed into the panic and the anxiety, the more it gets worse. It just gets worse because you're feeding into it. You're telling yourself, this is horrible. This is it. I can't handle this, right? If you face it head on, if you walk towards it, if you tackle whatever it is that's causing you that panic and anxiety, and you spend a minute in that space and realize this is nothing. I shouldn't be scared of this because I'm doing it. I'm here. Then it subsides. It goes away.
Well, that's you living in the moment. That's you, being present, being in the moment. And I think that keeps your mind in check, is you're not thinking about things that happened in the past or in the future. You're thinking about what's happening right now. And I think that keeps you present. And yeah, I could see you turning everything else off.
I think also it puts you in the driver's seat.
For sure, you're in control.
It puts you in control. You're in control of your situation, right? You've got the bull by the horns. If you attack your panic, if you attack your anxiety in the sense that you move towards it, you understand the feelings and the emotions that are happening, and you go into them instead of try and get away from them, you start to realize that you can handle those feelings, you can handle those emotions, and they're actually not as bad as your brain is making them out to be. And then you sort of have a mind shift, and things get better.
Here's kind
Not
of
always. I've had some panic attacks where I wasn't able to get by them as easily. But as I've gotten older, as I've learned to deal with this type of stuff, that's where I go. If I'm nervous by people, and I'm sometimes get agoraphobic, like if I'm at a concert or something like that, and I start feeling kind of pressured by the people, I lean into it. I move closer to the people. I get more involved with the people, and then all of a sudden, the people don't bother me. Versus if I felt like I got to get away from these people, then it just makes it worse. If that makes sense.
Well, Craig Jamieson, how do you How do you manage if you say you do have panic attacks from time to time? How often does that happen? And do you have, a go-to thought or a mantra or something that helps you through it? Or do you just ride that ride? Surf's up, baby.
It's funny you say mantra because my new song "Come Around" is my mantra, the chorus. So what is it? I'm in my body because and the whole thing about being in my body is and if you deal with panic, you get an out of body type of experience. It's some like you're outside looking in. You almost feel like a ghost in your own world, which is like super scary, especially depending on the environment. So telling myself that I'm like I'm in the moment. I'm in my body. I'm there, right? So I'm in my body. I've got both feet on the ground, so I always feel like I'm floating, right? So like being that idea of an anchor, right? Being anchored to where you are and you're not floating away from everything. I'm standing strongly, so being present in your moment and being human and whatnot within your environment. And then the last part, so I'm in my body. I've got both feet on the ground. I'm standing strongly. Won't be long till I come around. And yeah, that's about riding the wave. It's about knowing that it'll pass. That these feelings, these emotions that you're having, are not the end of the world. And I remember when I first started having panic attacks, I checked myself into emergency a couple of times. Like I thought I was having a heart attack or I was actually dying, right? And I know people have gone through this or whatever, but that's about just weathering the storm, riding the waves, knowing that it's going to pass, knowing that it's your body and your brain doing weird things. You've been here before. You just got to hold on and you'll be okay.
Oh
And
yeah.
also that idea of moving towards it, right? And like almost there's a great book out there called The Power of Now.
Mm.
I forget the author, but it's about embracing the now, being in the moment, whether it's bad or good, just being like really being in that moment and really understanding what that moment feels and that resonance of what's going on. But what I love about it is a lot of stuff that invokes panic and anxiety is worry about the future, right? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? Am I going to be able to all this type of stuff, right? But you could be having those concerns sitting on a patio, enjoying your favorite beverage, eating your favorite food. And really, if you just sort of focus on that moment in time where you are in your life right there and then, with your favorite food, with your favorite drink, with your favorite friends around you, whatever, then just be in that moment, be there, right? And then that worry that for the future or whatever will subside, and you start to. It's more about yeah, just being in the now versus being worried about what's coming down the road.
I just want to
And
let
if you
people
do
know
that,
that The Power of Now is by Eckhart Tolle.
yeah, phenomenal book. So I mean, anybody who stresses about the future, worries about what's going on down the road, it's an amazing book to read. It gave me a lot of perspective. I used to be very concerned about what things were going on in my future, and I would do that too. Like if I was when I was having an anxiety attack or panic attack or whatever, I would just like focus on the present and what was around me and what was good about the environment I was in now, and being like I'm safe. I'm at a concert watching one of my favorite bands. I'm with my friends. Like this is good vibes. I shouldn't be worried about it.
Well, I know that
And
this song that you wrote. It seems like it's a good song for your dance depression away events. And tell me about those events. I got invited to, I think, a Facebook group or a page recently, and I haven't had a chance to go in and kind of peruse. But tell me about the events that you're planning to have for people, or is this something that's online, kind of a resource that way?
yeah, we're just starting. So August 16th is the kickoff event. So we've
Where's
got a
that?
venue.
Yeah, where is that? And
It's at
what's that?
Temperance in London. So we've got the venue. We're gonna have a DJ. I'm playing. Laura Gagnon's playing, another London artist who's quite popular around here. She's a friend of mine. And we're going to have food, we're going to have drinks, working on food sponsors and beer sponsors and stuff like that. We're going to have a silent auction. We're going to have like a 50-50. We're going to just do some fun things to try and raise more money. We're going to sell t-shirts. I got t-shirts. And all the money we make is going to be going to the not-for-profit organizations that help mental health, such as Mind Your Mind, Canadian Mental Health Association, Connects Ontario, all these types of places that provide resources like suicide hotlines, addiction services, any research on access to therapists, that don't cost money. There's a Canadian Mental Health Association just put out Reach Out 24/7, where they have actual therapists on the line that can talk to you if you need them, which is a great cause. It's a party. Like, this, I'm trying to tell people this isn't like a sad event or anything like that. It's a party. It's dance away your depression. Come listen to the live music. We're going to be playing lots of pop covers and dance songs and stuff like that people love to dance to. We're going to have a DJ as well to end out the night. So it's just, you just come dance, have a good time, have some drinks, have some tacos, and enjoy yourself. And it's for a good cause. It's kind of a two-pronged thing, It's one, by having this party and having a good time, we're raising money for a great cause. But at the same time, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like you want to be in a good community in a supportive environment, that's going to be, the guest list of this party. And, I think you can come out and kind of dance your cares away, essentially, is what it's all about. And this idea of when you dance, when you move, your endorphins fire, your adrenaline gets going, and those things start to cancel out sadness and depression and anxiety as well. So it's using movement as medicine, essentially, right?
Okay, well, all right. If I'm going to an event to dance depression away, you could be one of the depressed that's wanting to go to this event. Now, I don't know how that coincides with maybe disabilities and what have you. I'm thinking about an event that I just did last Saturday, and I've been following this group around. They've been having me all over the state. It's Myers Davis Life Coaching and Disability Services, and I know when I play for them, I have to be a little more delicate. I have to wear kid gloves. I can't put my bright lights out. I can't turn the music up too loud. But I do appreciate going there because I get people moving in their wheelchairs and on their crutches and got their heads bopping. Some of them are wearing headphones. Some of them, I don't know if there's any afflicted with depression, but I with the life coaching aspect of that facility, I suspect that there are. But it's nice to do an event like that helps people get through. And I do admire you for that. But are you going to have to gear your event a little differently? Is the music going to be quieter? Is it going to be, no lights, with the strobe lights that could affect people? I don't know. I
don't think so. And I mean, we're just kind of getting started with this stuff, so we'll learn as we go. But, I think loneliness is a big thing too,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
So, I've got a great group of friends, a great network, and a lot of these people will be at this event. And I think I can say confidently that if you come to this event as somebody who is looking to make connections and with like-minded people that are going through the same kind of stuff, or at least can be supportive, that they could find a home there.
Well, in the thousands of events that I've done, I've had one, and this is back in the mid-'90s, where someone did have an epileptic seizure with the bright lights, with the strobe lights, and I was like, "Wow, I'm so sorry." And it was like Aunt Betty, at a wedding, and that really put the kibosh on the dancing for a minute until they can get Aunt Betty off the floor. And I wondered about if this event is going to be geared towards the people that are afflicted, or it's more of a fundraising for the.
Yeah, it's more of a
Okay.
fundraising thing,
Okay.
right? You don't necessarily have to be depressed, Just, I mean, if you want to come out and just because you like dancing,
Please do.
that's it. Like it's a dance party to raise money for mental wealth or mental health, mental wealth. I guess it could be wealth.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
like you said, man, if someone was depressed going in, music, it is a magical tool, man, that can help people help lift their spirits. Especially, all right, you're mostly a rocker that I've known you of. I know that you have a little bit of that synth in you, but with this "Get to You" song, you leaned into that synth. I think that synth was working overtime. Synth pop. You've made a banger, bro. I mean,
well, thanks,
I'm
man.
used to hearing Honey, with that rock and roll, with that nice guitar riffing. But man, "Get to You" is a club banger. I'll be playing that at the Rab this weekend, and people are going to go, "Huh, what's that?" And I'll say, "That's Craig Jamieson." Yeah,
I
"Get to
appreciate
You."
it. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that song is I've always loved that song. It's yeah, it's very reminiscent of kind of that 80s synth wave, like a lot of like what the Weeknd's kind of doing, Blinding Lights, that type of stuff. That's I leaned into that a lot on that song. I like that one.
what do they call it? Synthwave. Is it?
Yeah, synth wave or yeah, synth pop, synth wave pop, all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, so what made you want to do more of a club banger with this "Get to You" song?
Uh, you know what's interesting about that one actually is the music. I collaborated with a guy. His name's Lucian. He's out in Eastern Europe. So I was on this site called Vocalizer. And Vocalizer is a way to connect vocalists and producers together to work on music. And they put their music out there and they say, I need a vocalist for this song, kind of thing. So I listened to this track, fell in love with it, and put a vocal on it, which was sort of a demo for Get to You. And he never ended up doing anything with it. And so I actually bought the music from him because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
And so he sold me the music. So now I have the rights to it and everything. And I made my song because I really loved the music and I loved what I was doing with it. And that's how like emphatic I was that I needed to finish this song. So that's the story. But there'll be more synth stuff coming. Like I'm all over the place. Honey it was what it was, and especially because of the influences. I think I told you in our last one that was like a sync licensing
Yeah.
bid, and so we were trying to write that kind of pop rock coming of age anthem. So that's what that was. Come around's a bit more alt rock too. And the other thing is my collaborators on Honey and Come Around, my old band Digital Opium, Brad Gray and Steve Turner. They bring a lot of that vibe too, kind of that 70s classic rock, 80s classic rock type of vibe. So those go that way. But Get to You is the first one that I've released that I actually produced on my own. Like that's all me. So that one's a different vibe for sure.
Oh, you should definitely be proud of
I
that one, man.
actually have, so that song, I teased an EP on SoundCloud that is a complete synthwave EP. So I actually have four other songs that are in that vein, and I'll probably release that EP at some point. And I love that music. I love synthwave. I love synths. I love that 80s vibe for sure. So there'll be more of that coming as well. And I think you'll see from me that I'm pretty eclectic. When it comes to my music, I just go with what feels good, so the influences that I'm trying to kind of bring out. Like I wrote like a song called Lips, which is a bit of a sort of a crooner type song mixed with modern pop. Kind of get my Michael Bublé on and stuff like that. I've got a folk rock song that I've done. Like I'm kind of all over the place. So yeah.
I like that, Craig. No limits, man. But you reminded me when you said you like that '80s sound. I remember in the early 2000s, I was doing an '80s party, and a little girl came up to me and says, how come they don't make any more '80s music?
Yeah, great. Like,
how come they don't make any more '80s music? It's not the '80s anymore.
No, I know. But you know what? Like, kids say the darndest things.
Yes,
right?
they
like,
do.
She's obviously onto something because there is a resurgence of this '80s sound. I mean, The Weeknd has capitalized on it huge. Benson Boone's doing it now too.
Yeah, I guess Arcade Fire was pretty big. They were trying to recapture the '80s sound. I think they were kind of named after a Duran Duran album, maybe Arcade Fire,
Okay.
maybe.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the '80s. My goodness, I graduated in '86, smack dab in the middle. So yeah, I come from the '80s. But I appreciate
me too, and
that.
I can't get away from it. Like, I don't go out to do it a lot of the time. Like, would Get to You, yeah, I wanted that vibe, but things like Honey or whatever has an '80s sort of classic rock to it. It never set out to be that way. It just you can't escape your influences. And I grew up as a kid of the '80s, right? Bon Jovi, Michael Jackson, Alias, all these bands and stuff like that. So it just comes out, right? And so it is what it is. But
Well, you got
now I'm leaning into it because it. I don't know. It's just because it comes so easy.
Well, I'm glad you were able to collaborate with someone in the Middle East, because making beats has come a long way. It used to be I had to sample from another album, maybe record a little bit onto a reel-to-reel, and then loop that reel-to-reel on a cart machine so I can get a beat, and that way my MC would have something to rap over. And that's the way you made beats back in the late 80s and early 90s. But now that they had Fruity Loops and all these looping applications, and people are making beats. But I remember the late 90s when that first came out, in early 2000s, people were just making and trying to sell beats. That was an actual job. And here you found somebody in the Middle East that had made a track and said, I need a vocalist. I need somebody to sing a song over this. I'm glad you found each other, because that could be lucrative, man. It takes a while to build these beats. I'd almost rather learn an instrument and play an actual instrument rather than making a synth beat, because even moving all those little on Fruity Loops, I guess it's FL Studio now. Even moving the hi-hat and then the drum beat, and it's time consuming. So it's almost easier or better if you know how to play an instrument to play an instrument or play a keyboard or something. But I
think it's so cool though. It's such a testament to our times, and how powerful and positive the internet can be, that it connects like-minded musicians and collaborators and stuff like that. I met a few people through that vocalizer. My good friend Jordan, who's out west in Canada, we did a bunch of songs together. We met through that vocalizer, and through that we met a guy in Germany as well, and collaborated on a song with him as well. It was a fun time. And it's so easy, right? Like, the guy does the beat, he emails it to you, you put the vocals on, give it to that guy, he records the guitar. Like, if everybody's got the audio production software, which we did, you just do it that way. And so now you have this universal network of artists and musicians that can work together, never been in the same room together, but can produce music together because of the power of the internet and audio workstations and things like that, which to me is amazing.
Yeah, and watching the internet. Okay, this guy Tony Black, he's been on this podcast before, but every day I see a new song. He writes a song and posts it. Writes a song, post it. I think he plays guitar a little bit. He's not, really that big on vocalists, but the proliferation of music, song every single day, and all he's looking for is people to sing those songs. And I know that he's collaborated with a few people because those people have been on this podcast that have collaborated with him writing those songs. So I appreciate people making music, people writing songs, and people like you, man, that put it all together, that are able to get those components and make a song like Get to You. That's going to move some booties at the club this weekend. Guaranteed. I have two public shows this weekend, so I'll be able to play it, feature it at least twice on the weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Oh man,
so.
if you can get me some video footage of that, I would love that.
Oh, I'm kind of stoked, man. I'm stoked. Yeah, and that's the other thing, man, is talk about anxiety. When video cameras became ubiquitous, I think the first wedding that somebody had an iPhone, or no, somebody was filming me, and I actually was thinking about this yesterday. I remember saying, "Ooh, they're filming me," and I was like, it was kind of off-putting because I don't remember being filmed any time before that, but I'm sure I have. I've been in this business, and you never know, what eyes are watching you. But I'm glad that you can cope with that, man. Even with the proclaimed problems that you have. You're able to get through it through music, through your friends, through your therapy, through that magical pill, that some scientists came up with. Yay, scientists. Cure everything, scientists. I implore you, because I definitely didn't go to enough school to cure all those diseases and problems. And, it's a mad world. And I'm glad that we're making it through, man. And people like you help people like us, help people get through. And that's what we need to be doing, is helping each other. So Craig Jamieson, you're the coolest, man. So tell me, you got that event coming up? Any other events coming up?
Yeah, I'm playing this weekend. I'll be at a place called CW Coops for a singer-songwriter showcase. That's going to be more of an acoustic vibe, which will be fun.
That's in London, Ontario?
Yeah, and that'll be all original songs. So I went through my library of stuff and put together 12 originals, which is, and my guitar player Andrew is going to join me on that. So,
so it's an hour.
I really like to focus when I perform. I can play guitar, but I like to focus on the vocals when I perform. So I prefer to have an accompanist with me, so that I can kind of focus on telling the story and singing the songs properly as well. So we're doing that. And then August 2nd, this is all local stuff. So I'll be at a place called the Bicycle Cafe for a Riverside music showcase as well. We'll be playing a couple hours there. It's a nice little cafe with an ice cream place beside it. It's outside. It's on the patio. That'll be really nice. Something about playing outside. It's fun. And then August 16th, we've got the charity event, Dance Away Depression. And I'm booking. I'm talking with lots of club owners, lots of bar owners and stuff like that, getting the name out there. So I'm looking to hopefully play another 20 shows before the year's up. That's my goal. And then, I'm releasing a Christmas EP in November. That's done. I had to get that to my sync people for July, so that's being pitched to like movies and TV shows and stuff like that right now. So hopefully they pick up it'd be nice to have one of those songs on a Netflix show or something like that. That's the goal. But then I'll be releasing that song, or that EP. It's called Favorite Time of the Year, and that's gonna be releasing. I'll probably release it like mid-November. Get the Christmas vibes going, probably after like Remembrance Day and stuff, I think is the rule. Don't talk about Christmas until Remembrance Day is over.
Yeah, but what's nice about a Christmas song is you get those, it keeps coming back every year. Mariah Carey cannot be the only person that capitalizes on Christmas. All right. Craig Jamieson needs a little piece of that pie. And if we can get you.
And that's a goal. I've always had that goal to be, to have my song played with Mariah Carey and, Bing Crosby and with those classics, right?
Well, that's just it. If I'm doing an adult Christmas party, I don't want to play the Charlie Brown Christmas. I want to play some of those adult, my favorite time of the year by Craig Jamieson. I do want to have a playlist that's available for a more adult party. But then, sometimes I'll do kid parties during the holiday season, and I want to have that a folder full of that as well. But it's nice. It's nice to have new songs, and that's the gift that keeps on giving. If every year they pull out the Greg Jamieson, favorite time of the year song during the holidays, hey, that's a little more residual. Hopefully, that's some mailbox money, that shows up at Craig Jamieson's mailbox. Isn't that cool? Oh, but
that's the goal. But just I don't know. It would just I've always just been drawn to that, to having a Christmas song played every year. So I write a Christmas song every year. Every year I write one. This year I decided to do a cover instead because I wrote 2 Christmas songs last year. And then I'm including another Christmas song that I released last year under a different name, but I'm going to re-release it under Craig Jamieson. And so, it's a 4-song EP. The cover song I'm super excited about because it's never been covered. I'm not going to say who it is or what it is because I want it to be a surprise.
Right.
But this song has never been covered, which is like crazy to me because it's one of my favorite Christmas songs of all time.
Yeah.
So I decided to cover.
I'm thinking of
I
Elvis.
decided to cover it this year, and that's going to be on the EP. So 3 originals, 1 cover.
I'm thinking Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. They both did their Christmas phases. So, here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa. So I'm thinking about that, and it's good. All right. I could be a Grinch at Christmas, and I hardly ever give presents because I'm a terrible gift giver. If you want something from me, let me know what you want. I will go out and get it. I will put it in a bag, maybe with a bow, and I will give it to you. But I'm not going to guess what you want for Christmas. But what I want for Christmas is more Craig Jamieson songs. Please, please, can I have some? Please? No, hey, it's cool,
I'll wrap
man.
them up with a bow for you, Dan.
Oh, it's cool that you're gigging, man. You're a working musician. Tell me about Lucky Widmore. Is that still a moniker you're using or not?
No, really. We just incorporated it into the band. So when I perform with the band, it's Craig Jamieson and the Lucky Widmore Band.
Okay. All right, man. So if it's Craig Jamieson solo,
my band has been kind enough to let me kind of keep that going. Just because it's like people know me from back in the day as Lucky Widmore. That was my moniker for probably about 10 years. So it's nice to incorporate it in. But so it's kind of like I guess amalgamating the new and the old, right? Lucky Widmore is still here, but he's releasing songs under his own name, but it's still Lucky Widmore.
Yeah, if I watch your videos, if I pop on Honey on YouTube and then I hit the forward, it'll probably take me to Perfect Timing or the lyric video, or maybe even Playing with Fire. But then the next one, it'll take me to a Lucky Widmore video if I hit the next. So it's kind of cool that you are keeping it, keeping the old and the new, and you're not forgetting where you came from. It's all pieces of you, and it's all influences that you're influencing yourself now with stuff that you did before. Isn't that cool?
It is. There's a journey there, right? If you were to listen to Lucky Widmore from the beginning, the first record I put out to like the third record, there's a musical journey based on what happened in my life with that project. So it was never a band. Like Lucky Widmore was always me, and I put bands around me.
Right.
So it was never a band. So there's different musicians on each record, and so different influences were coming in and all that type of stuff. So there's definitely been a journey, and you can actually hear Lucky Widmore started as like almost kind of like Bedouin Soundclash, like sort of a reggae rock type of thing, and then moved more into the rock and the funk mixing in with that. And then by the last album, you could start to see the synth and the pop influences and stuff start to come in as well. So it's kind of an interesting journey and tells a bit of a story on my musical journey anyway.
Well, Craig Jamieson.
I'm also, what's interesting too is, and I've heard it said multiple times, is just because it's old music to you does not mean that it's old music to other people because they could be hearing it for the first time, right? So if people like Craig Jamieson and they want to go down the rabbit hole, they could find themselves listening to some Lucky Whitmore songs and digging the Lucky Whitmore songs, right? I think of like Chapel Roan, she's got that huge hit right now, Pink Pony Club.
Big
She wrote
time.
that like 5 years ago, right? Like, so to her it was an old song, but then she puts it on the radio, everybody hears it, and it's new to everybody else, and it's, and it's doing fantastic for her. So
Yeah, it's
music is
big.
kind of timeless that way, right? Like, again, like, just because it was an old song for you doesn't mean that it's an old song for everybody else. If they hear it for the first time, it's a new song.
Oh yeah, that song is becoming a big karaoke song. And then her hot to go, HOTTOGO. It's like the new YMCA. People are doing this dance to it.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
Oh, for sure.
Brilliant.
Craig Jamieson, I need a song that you could do the electric slide to. A
I need
shuffle.
a dance. Yeah, I need to write a song that we put a dance move to.
That's
I'll
right.
give that-
That's right. Dance depression away. And to the left, to the right. Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
I could probably utilize my kids for that. They're always making up fun dances and doing performances and things. I'm sure they could come up with something creative.
Yes. I want to see that on your TikTok, on your Facebook. I want to see that. I want you to get hits. I want you to go
I'm not
far.
much of a dancer, that's for sure. I definitely cannot dance. I do, I'm this guy.
Okay. All right. Well, Whitney Houston, and I know you didn't expect her to be in this video, in this podcast. She famously didn't dance too much. And
No,
she
didn't
was
have to with that voice.
there at the same time as Janet Jackson doing Rhythm Nation. And they jokingly called her Rhythmless Nation because she didn't dance. All she had to do was sing with that powerful voice. And your voice, Greg Jamieson, is good to hear your voice, man. Let's wind this thing down. Let's land this plane. Let's tell people to go to, get to you, and find it, and go to your website. What's the website again?
CraigJamieson.ca.
.ca, because you're in Canada, London, Canada. Find him
London.
at a local bar, CW, what is it? CW what? Coop?
CW Coops.
CW Coops. I'm thinking that's more of an intimate show, man. Is it usually, like
That
100,
sound, yeah.
100 people or less?
Yeah. You know what's cool, actually? At the end of the show, so there's 3 performers, including myself.
Yeah.
We're going to take the last 40 minutes of the show and we're going to do like a Q&A. So the 3 songwriters are going to sit around and talk about music and their inspirations of their songs and stuff like that. And then the audience is going to be able to ask questions, which is cool. It's I'm looking forward to that. And I could talk about music for hours. So.
Oh yeah, you have to monetize that. You have to have video of that to put up on your YouTube or your Spotify's or whatever. Yeah. That make that into a podcast for sure.
Good call, actually. Maybe I'll get Andrew to film it while he's there.
Oh, you better believe it. All right, my man. Yeah. Let's take this thing home, man. Any shout outs you want to give, or we'll just wind it down?
He's probably not listening, but shout outs to Lucian for the beat to get to you, because it inspired what I think is a pretty cool song. So.
Well, I'm glad you gave shout outs to Lucian, man. I'm sure that guy is working hard, man. Probably just in his bedroom, just putting beats together. It is time consuming. I tried to use Fruity Loops for a while, and I think Adobe Audition also came with a loop package when I bought it, and I was like, just moving stuff. I was like, wow, man, this is, because it gave you this sample that sounded pretty cool. And I was starting to move the sample around, and it was like, ooh, that doesn't sound right at all. So I had to, start fresh. And yeah, so big shout out to the people that make beats and make music and are able to use these computers in crazy new ways. I know I sound older and older and older every time I say these kids and their computers. I think they got something going there. All right, man.
Oh, absolutely. They're the future.
All right, brother. Let's finish this thing off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by, a mantra. I know you already wrote a song that has your mantra in it to help the people that are depressed, or whatever pops into your head. Craig Jamieson, give the last words for the people.
I think the thing that's on my mind through this entire conversation is take care of yourself, right? It's one you got one body, you got one mind. Listen to your body, listen to your mind, what it's telling you, what you need. Don't be afraid to pamper yourself and reach out for the help that you need. And there's other people, maybe your kids or friends or whatever, that are leaning on you too, and you've got to be your best self for them as well. So, just take care of yourself.
Well, there you have it, party people. Your old pal, Craig Jamieson, and the Lucky Widmore. Coming to a club in London, Ontario, Canada, near you. And make sure you dance that depression away in August too. That sounds like a good event, and it's gonna be good. I wondered about if he's inviting people that are afflicted or have different kinds of ailments. Sometimes the light, the music, the sound, if it's too loud, if it's too bright, it affects people. It affects people in different kind of ways. Atypical, ways of thinking. What is typical? I don't think anything's typical. I think we have this midline that maybe most people traverse, kind of get through, but some people are all the way to the right of that line, and some people all the way to the left of that line, and it affects their mental health and affects their health for that matter. And Craig Jamieson, I'm glad that you're mindful of people, because you're one of those people. You're a people that recognizes that they have things going on. And you're right. Everybody does have a story. Everybody does have problems. And, we do our best to cope with those problems. You do it with music, and you do it with talking with your therapist and talking with your children, and talking with your friends. Talk through it. If you're, I do want that for my loyal listener. If you are experiencing problems, talk through it. Find somebody that you trust that you could talk through it. And, I know I wasn't jesting in the beginning when I said therapy. We never heard of therapy. Growing up in Miami as a half Cuban man, my Cuban grandfather, therapy. Who needs therapy? I had him. He was my Obi-Wan for sure. And, I had my mom and my grandma, and I had people around me. But, thinking of going to therapy to cope with problems, swift kick in the pants. That's how I grew up. But I do appreciate that people recognize that they need some help, and they go get some help. And no judgment. If you need help, you go get help. I know people around me, they need help, they go get help. And sometimes I pay for that help. So sometimes those people are pretty close to me. So, all right. Thank you so much, Greg Jamieson, for being on the podcast once again. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's keysdan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.